At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Krueger, and you are watching Coffee with Krueger every weekday morning at 6:30. Be sure to download the app if you want to watch from your phone. Just go to your app store and search for Weather NorCal. Hey, you know what? Today is the first day of spring, although we do not officially transition from winter to spring until exactly 8:06 tonight. So really, it's tomorrow. The first official full day of spring, but people call today the first day of spring, but really it's not. It's still going to be winter through a majority of the day. The weather pattern we've been experiencing, it's going to be slowly changing for the rest of the week. We'll be looking at temperatures dropping. We're going to be looking at chances for rain entering the picture here, and we've got snow in the mountains down to as low as 3,000 feet this weekend. So yeah, we've still got some more snow and rain heading our way, not only this weekend and starting as early as Friday, but going into the weekend. But this is looking like a pattern that could really kind of continue into parts of next week, in fact, most of next week as well. It's not going to be steady rain. We're not expecting any flooding or anything like that, but we're going to get some decent rain once all is said and done in this long extended period. Right now, temperature's fairly mild in the valley. We're in the mid to upper 40s. Looks like Oroville. The temperature gauge has been down in Oroville, by the way. That's the reason why we've been getting some really weird information coming in from Oroville. So until we see that weather station kind of get back up and running, you kind of have to take the information from Oroville with a grain of salt. It gives you about 48 degrees for Chico, 48 for Willows, 49 in Redding. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s for the eastern mountains, 26 for Alturas, 32 degrees for Susanville and Quincy, 26 in Chester, Bernie about 29, and up north in Siskiyou County. How about Mount Shasta? Good morning to you. It is 35 degrees, 33 degrees in Wairika, and there is Weaverville at about 34 degrees, 33 degrees in Hayfork, and 41 degrees in Willow Creek, 50 out in Crescent City, and there you can see Eureka, about 49 degrees. All right, let's take a look at the visibility out there, and it looks like we're seeing some visibility dropping a little bit in Trinity County, about 5-mile visibility in Eureka, 10-mile visibility in Crescent City. Look at the visibility kind of dropping down south in southern Humboldt County. That's because we're probably looking at a little bit of fog out there. Don't have any unfortunately, there aren't any weather stations in there to really give us any visibility, so we kind of have to go off of some of the observations. But we take a look at the satellite image here. This is looking at the fog in the region, and you can see it's been kind of sucked in there from Eureka southward to about Garberville southward into southern portions of Humboldt County. So kind of that helps to kind of reiterate that. When we have the lighter shades of white in there, or lighter shades of gray, that's more of that fog. When you see the darker shades of gray, that's kind of more in the way of what we call the stratus. It's not quite fog, but more in the way of those clouds overhead, stratus deck as it's called. And that's kind of what we're seeing for a lot of areas. And that's why we're seeing, fairly good visibility, despite the fact that we do have the fog overhead. All right, let's take a look at Futurecast. And there you can see some of that fog here this morning. It's going to kind of stick around through a good portion of the day. In fact, it may even start to kind of creep its way inland as we go through the afternoon. Now, we're going to see less in the way of that fog and just mostly cloudy skies as we take you into your Wednesday, and maybe even a chance for a few sprinkles embedded in there as well. Not only today, but even tomorrow as well. This is a look at the Crescent City Harbor District just the camera. And again, this is kind of reiterating the fact that we're really not seeing much in the way of fog out there, but just kind of that low stratus deck as it's called. And we take, for example, what it looks like out just north of Trinidad in Elk Country. And there you can see, again, just the stratus deck, if you will. We're not looking at really a ton of fog out there either. But of course, that's going to be something we'll be dealing with on the coast here. And that's typical. That's pretty normal. Now, we go anywhere else, and we're dealing with mainly clear skies. This is out of Main Street, Chico, Highway 32. If you kind of look at the top of that image there, you can kind of see some of the clearing skies out there this morning. We take you out to Highway 99 at Neal Road. Looks like traffic is flowing smoothly there. And it's still pretty dark out there this morning. Of course, that's going to be the case. But as we kind of start to see the days get longer, as you can see here, this is the Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44. We are seeing, of course, look off in the top of the screen there. Starting to get some of that sun kind of just beginning to kind of try to pop out at this point. Okay, so let's go and take a look at your forecast for today. And there you can see those temperatures are going to be in the mid-70s again. So another gorgeous spring-like day, because today, as I mentioned, it's not officially spring yet. But, you know, everyone's going to say, hey, happy first day of spring. It's the first day of spring. Well, yes, we can say that, but technically speaking, it's not until later on tonight. And there, of course, you can see we've got those snow levels. They're going to start off fairly high, but look at the snow levels dropping. We're down to about 3,000 feet on Sunday, taking southward into Trinity County. Forest Glen, about 71 degrees for Ruth, and 67 degrees in the town of Peanut. How about Garberville? 70 degrees. Shelter Cove, 55. And there you can see 72 degrees in Miranda. They take you up north. Ferndale, 54, 55 out in Fortuna. Looks like Hydesville today, about 57 degrees. Take you up north. Trinidad, 52, as well as McKinleyville. Of course, we're seeing that fog out there this morning, probably looking at more in the way of those foggy conditions. However, places inland like Willow Creek and Hoopa, most likely looking at the mainly sunny skies out there today, as well as Orleans with a high of 75. But Crescent City, looking at mostly cloudy skies today. Temperature of 56, 62 degrees for Smith River. Gas Key, about 61. In Oric, 56 degrees. Western Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, 73 for Happy Camp, 78 for Horse Creek, 72 in Hornbrook, 70 for Montague, Grenada, and there you can see Gazelle, about 69. There's your Scott Valley neighborhood forecast with 68 degrees for Callahan, 69 in Etna, and Fort Jones, about 67. We take it out to central and eastern Siskiyou County, where we got that high of about 67 degrees for Tule Lake. Mount Shasta City, about 69, around 70. McLeod, 68 and 71 degrees in Dunsmuir. All right, let's take a look at what we've got in Modoc County. Newell, about 65, as well as Canby. Calpines, 66 degrees for Alturas, and Fort Bidwell today, about 63. Temperatures in the low to mid-60s for the eastern mountains up to the north, northeast. Beaver, 65, but Paynes Creek, maybe just a tad warmer, with a high of about 69 degrees. And we take you out to Lake Almanor and Lassen Park, where you can see Chester, not bad today, mainly sunny skies with a high of 66. 63 degrees for Lake Almanor Peninsula, and there you can see Westwood, about 62 degrees. Take it south into the eastern mountains southward. Paradise, 68. 70 in Quincy. Kronberg, 64. And Susanville, you'll see a high today of about 69 degrees. How about your valley neighborhood forecast to the south? There you can see, of course, you've got the showers entering the picture by Friday, but today, not so much. Of course, mainly sunny skies. I think we'll probably see a few more clouds come in today, by the way. And in fact, when we look at futurecasts here in just a bit, you'll see that there's even some clouds popping up for some of the higher elevations, and maybe even the potential for a few showers, mainly in the Sierra, though. 74 degrees for Palo Cedro, 72 degrees for the city of Shasta Lake, and Lakehead, a high of about 70. Let's take a look at that 7-day forecast. And again, I've got spring in there, but the first full day of spring is Wednesday. We just transitioned from winter to spring later on tonight. Then, of course, we're going to be looking at temperatures dropping the next few days. Quite a change, too. I mean, we're in the mid-70s for today, but more like the upper 50s to low 60s for Friday through the weekend. Now, again, it's not going to be a complete washout, but I do expect to see that rain enter the picture here by Friday through the weekend and even into next week. All right, and we're going to take a look at a picture. This is courtesy of Lynette Schaff, and this is out at the Cloverdale Trailhead. I want to thank Lynette for sharing this picture. I believe this is from her hike, possibly over the weekend. And I'd like for you to share some of your hiking photos or any photos you have in general that you'd like to share. A sunset, a sunrise, you can do that very easily from the app. Just go to your app store or on your Android in the Google Play Store, search for Weather NorCal. And it'll pop up here pretty quickly. And then all you do is download the app for free. And now you've got the app, complete access to the app. Good morning, everyone. It's a little dark, isn't it? Let me adjust that. Well, I'll have to adjust that later. That's a little dark, but good morning to you, Ruth. Hey, Mike, you can have the snow. I'll take the sunshine. Yeah? I think some people like the sunshine. Some people like the snow. Here's the thing, and I'm noticing this trend now. Now that we've got a good snowpack, now that we've got our lakes for the most part filled, now that we've got above normal rainfall for the most part, people are a little less concerned about the lack of rain. And I think it's great. I'm so happy and thrilled to see people excited about nice weather, good weather. This is good. We can go ahead and enjoy it. Good morning to you, Dean. Good morning to Bill Carlton. Noel Holler Riggs. Good morning from Janesville. All right, Janesville. Good to see you. Good morning from Curtis Brown, 7 miles west of Red Bluff. Great weather for working outside. Yeah. You know, this is that time of the year, you know, you got to start pulling weeds, maybe start getting ready to plant some of the spring flowers. What do they call them? The perennials? I don't have much of a green thumb. I think they're called perennials. Am I wrong? Right? But usually people like to wait a little bit. And I would suggest waiting until after this series of storms comes through. I don't anticipate any freezes, but, you know, we're still several weeks out. We're getting into, as we start getting into April, right? Good morning. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day here in Hoopa. I think so. I think if you got the clear skies out there right now, I am seeing some indication that some of that fog that we're seeing on the coast, that low stratus deck, is going to start to kind of creep eastward into some of the inland areas. But I think, Hoopa, you're far enough east and off the coast there that I think you can see some pretty nice weather. What do you guys have planned out there today to enjoy this beautiful weather? Anybody have any plans? I mean, someone was talking about, who was saying that? Curtis saying, great weather for working outside. Maybe that's your job, working outside. Sometimes I envy people who work outside. Isn't it nice, you know, especially on a nice day like this? Although when it's cold, when it's wet, maybe a bit of a different story out there. Hello to Gilbert Burns. Good morning to you. You know, I don't really have a whole lot of plans going on. Oh, you know what? I'm excited because I forget the name of the school. What's the name of the school? I'm going to a school today. I'm going to read a book to the kiddos. I'm really excited. That's going to be fun. What? I'm trying to remember the name of the school. Maybe you're watching. If you're watching this morning in the school that I'm going to go visit, tell me. But I'm trying to think of what book I'm going to read. Any suggestions? Although, you know, I'm not probably going to, you know, yeah, maybe I won't have access to your yard work, then badminton. There you go. Badminton's a fun game. Sport, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm heading out to a school in Reading. It's obviously going to be an elementary school, and I'm going to read. I believe it's part of the Read Across America program that's going on this time of the year. So they reached out to me, asked me if I wanted to read a book, and I said, sure, let's do it. And by the way, if you are part of an organization, whether it's like a Lions Club or a Rotary Club or anything of that nature, I've gone in to speak at many different clubs and organizations. Now, it's no secret, I live in Reading, so that's the easiest for me if you're in an organization in Reading. But, you know, I can go out to Red Bluff. I could maybe go out to Weaverville, especially, you know, I could certainly make things like that happen. The coast may be a little tough. Mount Shasta? I think so. Maybe Bernie? Sure, I could probably make that happen. It's hard sometimes, depending on what's going on with the weather. We'd have to kind of go around that. But just want you to know that I can be a guest speaker for you. And I'm also happy to go out to school visits. If you are a teacher and you're going into a weather type of segment, I can possibly do a school visit as well. Emily, I think someone is saying here, you should read, Cloudy the Chance. Oh, there you go. That's a good idea. I don't even know if I have that book. You know, maybe I could find it on like my iPad or something and do it there. But that's a good idea. I like that. If they have that book available, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, my guess is they don't. That was a great book. And the movie, too. I don't know if you got a chance to see the movie, it was good. And of course, they made it #2 and all that good stuff. But, you know, sometimes I just don't think about these things, right? And that's why it's fun to talk with you all and discuss what I could read, what book I could read. But yeah, if you're part of a school and you're involved in that program, how about Chili Today, Hot Tamale? Is that a book? How cool is that? All these weather-related type books, I don't even know about it. One of my favorites that I used to read to my son Aiden when he was a young lad, of course he's still a young lad, but he was much younger, is one of his favorites was, I know it sounds crazy, but Green Eggs and Ham. And it was, in fact, he wanted me to read it to him every single night, to a point where I practically had it memorized. And I remember when I was working at the TV station, I had to be there for severe weather coverage, so I couldn't go home to read him his bedtime story. But what we did, there was a lull in the weather, and we did a FaceTime. And I didn't have the book with me, but he had it with him, and he was following along, and I knew it from my heart, and from memory. And it was great. It was so much fun. But that was neat. And it was so neat to be able to use technology and FaceTime and all that kind of stuff. I've got Steven say, no, that's just a bad joke, not a book. Or a dad joke. A bad dad joke. No, it's a good dad joke, but not a book. Okay, but I like that. Someone should think, maybe I'll write a book called, how about Chili Today? I'll call it Chili Today, Hot Tamale. There you go. It's kind of fun. And by the way, my son found these. I believe they're out of Weed, California. They, I guess out of their kitchen, they make tortilla chips. And they make them out of their kitchen, and they started selling them. There was a store in Mount Shasta. It was over by the Supercharger. What was it? It's one of the hardware stores there, over by the grocery store. But anyway, Dad Bod chips. They're called Dad Bod chips, and they've got different flavors and all these different. They're actually really good. And in fact, I just found out that they're now selling the Dad Bod chips at Holiday Foods in Redding on Placer. I don't know about the other Holiday Foods, but the one on Placer Street, the Holiday Foods Dad Bod chips. They're tortilla chips. I highly recommend them. They are so good. And one of the things that they recommend is that you put them in like a toaster oven for a little while, heat them up. Really good. They've got different flavors. They got some of the hot ones. They've got it's like a cheese, like a tortilla, like a cheese flavor, and they call it cheesy dad jokes. I mean, they have fun with it, but they're good. I recommend. So if you're at the grocery store, if you're at Holiday Foods in Placer, or in Mount Shasta, out at, gosh, what is the name of that hardware store? It's not Ace, the one downtown, although maybe they have them there. I don't know. But that's a great, awesome, good stuff. All right, folks, what do you say? It's about 6:50 in the morning, and we have got to get to a forecast. I mean, we kind of went through, and hopefully, what I like to do with the format of this morning show is that what I end up doing is, for some reason that doesn't want to work. What I end up doing is I just kind of do a brief, hey, here's what's happening now, and then kind of go into your forecast for the entire neighborhood. So if you're kind of in a hurry, in a rush, and you're just out and about, and you want to get your quick forecast, boom, you're done. And then we can, after all of that, we kind of chat about what's going on. We talk about cheesy dad jokes, Dad Bod chips, the works, right? And then after that, we go into the main forecast, and then maybe a little bit more chatting after that, and then we kind of wrap things up. But we are going to get into the main forecast. This is where I kind of go and do a deeper dive of what's going on with everything. But before we get to that deeper dive forecast, we've got to mention our sponsor. And we want to thank our sponsor, made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. So at Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. Again, thanks Wind River and Resort and Casino for their support. All right, let's go and take a look at our weather headlines. And happy first day of spring. You know, and I'm guilty. I'm saying it myself, right? Happy first day of spring, even though, again, I like to be technical about it and talk about how it's actually not officially spring until 8:06, which we're going to go into a little bit more detail here in just a second about the vernal equinox and all that good stuff. All right, so with the weather pattern, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be changing slowly through the rest of the week with showers and cooler temperatures by the end of the week and into this weekend. And with that cooler air, we've also got lower snow levels. Now, we're going to start off fairly high, probably 5,000 to 6,000 feet on Friday, but lowering to about 4,000 feet Saturday, and then Sunday, maybe even lower than that, maybe down to about 3,000 feet. All right, so let's talk about spring, what this all means. So you may remember from junior high science class or high school science class that when you talked about seasons, there was a reason for that. Because the Earth, as it rotates on its axis, as it spins on its axis, it's not straight up and down, right? There's a bit of a tilt. In fact, 23.5 degree tilt of the Earth. So again, there's that main right here, but then it tilts 23.5 degrees. This is the reason why we've got all the different seasons. So as the Earth rotates around the sun, because of that tilted axis, right? So summer solstice, we're in the northern hemisphere, it's tilted closer to the sun, that's our summer. On the opposite end of that, winter solstice is when we are tilted farther away from the sun, and that's our winter. But for autumn, fall, and spring, it's neither closer or farther away, but equal. Now, technically speaking, there's about 12 hours, it's an even amount of daylight hours and overnight hours for the entire globe. Everyone's going to, for the most part, see the same sunrise and sunset. But as we start getting closer and closer to summer, the days are going to get longer and longer as a result of the tilt of the Earth. So it's known as the vernal equinox. Now that's for today. It officially transitions from winter to spring at 8:06 tonight. Now, this is, again, as I mentioned, equal amount of daylight and darkness at all latitudes. So it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in Alaska, if you're in, the mainland, if you're south into Mexico, right? Same amount of daylight. Now, it's kind of interesting. My wife has asked me, we were talking about the first day of spring. I said, well, it's actually called the vernal equinox. And she said, well, what is vernal? Why do they call it that? So what I did is I Googled, quite honestly, and I looked it up. Now, vernal means fresh or new, like the spring, otherwise known as youthful as well. So that's kind of, fitting, right? It's spring, things are growing, it's youthful, right? You kind of get that idea. So that's the reason it's called vernal, and that's what vernal means. But yes, it's not until 8:06 we're officially in spring. Temperatures right now, mid to upper 40s for the valley. Again, I don't think that that's true with Oroville. Probably somewhere in the upper 40s as well. 26 degrees for Alturas, 32 degrees for Susanville and Quincy, 49 for Eureka, and Crescent City about 50. All right, so let's take a look at the futurecast here. There's the fog along the coast. As I mentioned, it's going to try to creep its way eastward. There's Hoopa. You're asking, saying it's probably going to be a nice day in Hoopa. Don't think the fog will be making its way into Hoopa, or even Willow Creek for that matter. But, places like Blue Lake, right? Ferndale, places like that, probably seeing the fog here, and at least the low clouds kind of coming in. That's the case for Crescent City, Eureka. It looks like Garberville, eventually, you may see some of that clearing, so that looks pretty good. But notice this. We're beginning to see more cloud cover begin to develop. And this is that time of the year now, too, where when we look across the nation, we're getting into severe weather season. Why is that? Well, because we have more moisture in the atmosphere, and on top of that, it's warming up. And you get a lot of what's called convective type showers and thunderstorms. So what happens is you get that daytime heating. So it's warm today. So in the mountains, I think we're going to see some pop-up clouds. You're going to see a lot of the puffy cumulus clouds developing in the afternoon. Some of those may develop a stray shower here and there. Hayfork, Weaverville, maybe around Mount Shasta, off in the eastern mountains. It's not out of the question here. But overall, it's dry, mainly sunny in the valley. But you're going to notice in the valley, looking off in the distance, you might see some of those puffy cumulus clouds through the afternoon today. Kind of interesting. Then we take you into your Wednesday. We're looking at less in the way of the fog along the coast and just the mostly cloudy skies. But check this out. This is something that the Futurecast has been kind of indicating in the last few days and kind of changing its overall intensity and shape. But See that little thin little line of showers trying to develop here? It is not entirely out of the question. At some point in the day tomorrow, especially in the afternoon, parts of the valley could see a stray sprinkle. Is it going to be measurable? No. Is it going to happen? Maybe not. You need to even cancel any outdoor plans? No. If you're working outside, it's not going to be a problem, but don't be surprised if you're out and about tomorrow and you see a stray sprinkle out there. And this is kind of interesting. We kind of take it a little bit more in time, and we're seeing some activity even for portions of eastern Siskiyou County and even Modoc County. So again, not out of the question in some areas tomorrow afternoon. It's just basically a weak disturbance passing to our north. We're getting the tail end of it, and it's maybe going to produce just enough instability for maybe a few light showers. Now we're dry on Thursday, but the clouds beginning to move in from the west, maybe even a few clouds off to the east. This is the first signs of that change I was talking about at the end of the week. By Friday, that rain beginning to move in. So here's the overall pattern. We still have this big ridge of high pressure right here. Okay, so that's been the dominant feature this past weekend while we've seen this beautiful weather, temperatures well above normal, right? But that ridge of high pressure is going to start to break down. Now, the reason it's actually breaking down and has started to break down is because we've been watching a lot of storm systems butting up against that ridge of high pressure, moving up and over it. That eventually kind of takes a toll on the ridge, and the ridge starts to weaken. So we can see this storm system here. This is the one we have in store for us to possibly be here by Friday. This is going to kind of help to reinforce that as well, but there's more activity coming in behind that. So you can see over the Pacific, I mean, there's just a lot of activity over the Pacific right now. This is all heading our way. And once that ridge breaks down, that's going to open the door for these storms, or at least the energy associated with these storms, to develop their own storms to move on through. And that's going to be here by Friday through the weekend, and really a long range keeping it through next week. So you can see here, there's that ridge that's over us right now. There's all of the activity off to the west. Again, this is all going to be taking shape and changing forms, and the storm system's kind of moving, getting weaker, getting stronger. But bottom line, there's the energy out here that can produce that. So this right here, if you look, see how it's riding up to the north. That's that weak system passing through tomorrow, by the way, right? And then there's the activity coming in behind that could be here by Friday. So there's Friday's chances for rain. Snow levels fairly high, 5,000 feet. Taking you into Saturday, that low pressure kind of dives down, rides down the coast. Now we've got the rain, cooler air filtering in, snow levels dropping down about 4,000 feet on Saturday. Now Sunday, you see how it kind of continues to dive to the south. I think Sunday, the first half of the day, chance for showers, we may start to see it diminish a little bit. Now, we're going to be on the back side of that, and we're going to see high pressure trying to build in. We're going to be looking at more of a flow coming right over Northern California and really the Pacific Northwest in general. As long as we have that flow coming in, we're going to continue to see off and on chances for rain for Sunday, all the way through Thursday, Friday, all the way through next week, really, is what it's looking like at this point. I don't want to give you any timing. I'm not going to tell you exactly the timing of all these storms coming through. And I don't even want to tell you how much rain is being forecast by the forecast model, because it changes every single day. But bottom line is, I do expect to see a decent amount of rain and good snow in the higher elevations, adding to our snowpack, adding to our, for most of us, above normal rainfall for the season. And this is all good. This is all just some good, healthy rain coming through. I don't anticipate any problems. There may be some travel issues in the higher elevations with that snow, but flooding concerns at this point, I'd say no. You can see precipitation outlook based on the Climate Prediction Center, keeping us in that above normal category, and also keeping us in that below normal category when it comes to those temperatures as well. So here's a look at your wave heights. We're actually going to start to see them drop a little bit here as we take you into your Wednesday, but anywhere from about 6 to 7 feet is to start heading way out to sea here, but overall looking pretty good along the coast here. We look at the marine forecast. West winds at 5 to 10 knots, waves from the west at 3 feet at 10 seconds, and from the northwest at 4 feet at 16 seconds. There's your sunrise and sunset. No alerts as of yet, although as the storm system approaches at the end of the week, we may start to see some marine advisories out there. Temperatures today, another gorgeous spring-like day, because it's not going to be spring through most of the day. As I mentioned, 8:06 p.m. Tell your friends. Fun fact, tell all your friends. When they say, happy spring, say, nope, it's not spring yet. If it's before 8:06 p.m., say, it's not, Mike Krueger said it's not until 8:06 p.m. Well, it's officially not until 8:06 p.m. anyways. Temperatures in the mid-70s. give or take for the valley. We've got those temperatures in the mid to upper 60s for the eastern mountains, northern mountains. But look at Trinity County, mid 70s for the inland areas. But again, with that overcast skies through most of the day and for most of the coast, we're going to be looking at those temperatures mainly in the low to mid 50s for those daytime highs. Here's your 7-day outlook. Temperatures slowly dropping. Showers coming in by Friday. And it looks like as we take a look at the north coast, and not to mention inland and Weaverville, look at the snow levels. 5,000, then 4,000, then 3,000, then maybe back up to about 3,500 feet by Monday. But you get the idea. We're going to be looking at some decent low snow levels, which is good for the ski park. Keep that ski season going, right? There, of course, you can see for Mount Shasta, Alturas, and Susanville. We've got those snow levels dropping as we go into the weekend and kind of staying status quo for the most part going into early next week. All right, so there you have it, folks. There is your forecast and kind of that deeper dive forecast. Grandson's KC's birthday party. Let me see if I can remember why. There's a grandson KC's birthday party. Not sure what that means. Happy spring. Yeah, not officially yet. Remember what we talked about in the main forecast there. Adios winter. You know what? We've had a pretty good winter. I think when we look at the grand scheme of things, right? Yes, we had some flooding in some areas here. We saw some mudslides and debris flows, a lot of the typical stuff that we see. But we didn't see an excessive amount of it, right? We didn't see a ton of mudslides and debris flows. We didn't see flooding day in, day out for some areas. Yes, for those of you that felt and were impacted by the flooding, I recognize that's not good. And there was some pretty serious flooding, especially along the coast for a period of time. But when we look, again, the grand scheme of things across all of Northern California, not that bad. We had a couple of days that were just really bad travel days with the snow and the chain requirements. But overall, not that many days like that. We really got rain, then not so much rain, then not so much rain, then rain. It was kind of one of those off and on type of situations. So we're doing great. I mean, we're not in a drought. The lakes are in good condition here. We're, for the most part, above normal for the rain season. The snowpack is doing really well. We've got a nice reserve in there. So this is great. This is really good. So there's a birthday party. Okay, so you're going to a birthday party on the sixth birthday party. Happy birthday to KC. Hopefully great weather. I don't know when that is, if it's today, if it's tomorrow, this weekend, not so much great weather as far as if you have any outdoor plans, because you're going to be dealing with that wet weather. I do know, like, for example, my son's track team, or the track in general, they were supposed to have a track meet on Friday, and just yesterday they said because of the weather, they're bumping it up to Thursday. I wonder if they watch Weather NorCal, or if they just got the weather in general. Maybe they should know that they've got a contact that they can refer to if they want to. If you're watching, you make decisions for the track team or the track in general, let me know. Hit me up and I can be your personal forecaster. Yeah, looks good. How about those cameras? Let's see if there's any good cameras out there. Is the Crescent City one still going? Let's see. No, it froze up on me. Hey, by the way, Harbor District camera, I was actually trying to contact you a few months ago, never heard back. I'm going to try to call back again. But if you know anybody out at the Harbor District, let them know that I would like to get access to their camera so I can share this image right here, which is a frozen image, so it's old. But I think this is a great resource. This is a great resource for all of you out in Crescent City and the Harbor District in general, because it gives us an idea what's going on in Crescent City. And so I love to share this image in the morning so people get a good idea, so they just got the one spot to go to. So if you know anybody, I believe it's the Harbor Master or something like that I need to talk to. And once they give me the thumbs up, I can do that. There's another great camera in Mount Shasta at the Chamber of Commerce, and I believe it's on top of the police station, actually. Great view of Mount Shasta, not just the mountain itself, but kind of over the city, and just beautiful. I can also get access to that camera and share that image with you as well. So, yeah, let me know if you know anybody, or let them know that I'm interested in that. Hello, Roma Hollis. How you doing this morning? So glad everybody could check in this morning and just say good morning, say hello, all that good stuff. Always have a good time with you all. Let's get out of this image here because, again, it's old. Tell you what, let's take you to... There you can see, look at that. So you can clearly see the low clouds, right? It's not like really low visibility. It's not socked in with fog, but those clouds are really low. That's what we call a stratus deck. So as that stratus deck can lower and raise, as it raises, of course, then you see better visibility. As it lowers, the visibility begins to drop. But this is out just north of Trinidad. So, I mean, this is, you look at the varying amounts of fog, right, as you go up and down the coast. So it just depends on where you are. So that visibility is going to be impacted by that as well. Here is, and I'm going to show you the harbor. Yeah, this is the Harbor District cam. I'm going to take you back over here. And there you can see there's the latest image there. Again, you look up in the sky there, it's a bit of a stratus deck. And it's not very low, at least for the standpoint. That's why we have good visibility. And that's why the visibility is actually pretty good. It's a 10-mile plus, the last I checked, out at Crescent City. But it's a little bit lower in other areas. In fact, let me kind of get you out of this. We'll take a look at the visibility. And you'll be able to see, yeah, 10-mile plus. But out at Eureka, right, that stratus deck is a little bit lower. Again, kind of in a situation where we're seeing here, when we look at the camera, that you see, so you saw the camera out at Crescent City, wasn't quite as low. It's a bit lower out at Elk Country, north of Trinidad, which explains why maybe a little bit lower out in Eureka as well, giving us 5-mile visibility. So again, when you lower that deck, you see less visibility. Looks like we also have some lower visibility, maybe down to a mile or so, out along Highway 101 between Eureka and Garberville, for example. Maybe some patchy, dense fog in there as well. So just please be aware and be alert of that as you are on your morning commute. We take a look at some other cameras out there. Let's take a look at Chico this morning. There you can see clear skies. This is downtown Chico. So that's going to do it for us this morning. I'm going to leave you with some music. Yes, I'm going to cue up that music. And you know what that means. We're kind of wrapping up the show. And usually I like to wrap up the show with a little bit of that music. And of course, looking at different cameras across the area. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for chiming in. Tomorrow I'll see you again bright and early at 6:30 tomorrow morning on Coffee with Krueger. Make sure you got that coffee you're brewing, and we will see you tomorrow morning.